The Mandalorians are a proud and a powerful culture. They are some of the few beings in the galaxy capable of killing and competing with a Jedi Knight without the use of the Force. In fact, they tailor-made their gear, weaponry, and abilities to combat the Jedi during the days of the Old Republic era, where the Mandalorians and the Jedi were in constant conflict with one another. This is one among many reasons why Dooku, as well as Palpatine, selected the Mandalorian foundling Jango Fett as a clone template for their army. An army that was meant to play the facade of loyalty to the Grand Army of the Republic, when in reality they were loyal only to Palpatine, and in secret, the Sith, even if the clones did not know it themselves. It is because of this, and because of Palpatine selecting Jango Fett, again the Mandalorian foundling, that the relationship between the Jango Fett clones and the Mandalorians is strained at best. At best, they will work together to achieve a common goal. At worst, they hate each other entirely. Specifically though, the Mandalorians hate the clone troopers, not so much the other way around. Those clones that are aware of their Mandalorian heritage are proud of it, wearing it like a badge of honor, while on the other hand, all Mandalorians hate clone troopers. This is most recently shown in Bo-Katan's interactions with Boba Fett. Boba Fett being the original, non-altered clone of Jango Fett, his father, telling Boba that she's heard his voice 1,000,000 times. The clone troopers and the Mandalorians during the Clone Wars had very little interaction, at least during the beginning of the war when Death Watch and Mandalorians remained neutral, not choosing to side with the Republic or the Separatists. However, the Mandalorian subsect known as Death Watch would come into conflict with the clone troopers and the Republic, with the clone troopers even being victorious against Death Watch, most notably Bo-Katan and Pre Vizsla on the planet of Dre 2. This being a massive hit to the ego of Death Watch, true Mandalorians, being bested in combat by these fakers. This is not the true reason though why the Mandalorians would grow to hate the clone troopers so intensely. It wouldn't be anything that occurred during the Clone Wars. It was what came after. Although a small group of clone troopers led by the exiled Jedi Ahsoka Tano helped the Mandalorians reclaim Mandalore from Maul, and the clones and many Mandalorians worked together in combat successfully, I may add, it would be because of the clone troopers' role in the rise of the Empire that the Mandalorians would grow to hate them, these fakers that would allow a new power to rule Mandalore. As after Maul was defeated, the Mandalorians would not get to revel in their victory for very long, as shortly after this, Order 66 was commenced. The Jedi wiped from the star maps, and a new order rising to take the previous order's power, known of course as the Galactic Empire. It was the clone troopers that paved way for the Empire and allowed it to rise and function so successfully, with the Empire caring little of the Mandalorians, taking over their planet yet again, mining their precious Beskar, using their weaponry and traditions against the Mandalorian culture. It was revealed that Bo-Katan never considered Jango Fett to be a true Mandalorian, as previously to the outbreak of the Clone Wars, Bo-Katan and Pre Vizsla actually fought against Jango Fett and his faction of Mandalorians, known appropriately as the True Mandalorians, meaning that she does not consider Boba or Jango to be Mandalorian in heritage or culture. What infuriated Bo-Katan even more is that Jango Fett, even after leaving the Mandalorian culture, did not stop rumors that he was in fact a Mandalorian, and more than a common bounty hunter as Bo-Katan and Pre Vizsla considered him to be. So to answer the question, the reason the Mandalorians hate the clone troopers so intensely is for several key reasons. The individual that was taken as the clone template was in their minds a false and a fake Mandalorian, even though Jango Fett was a legitimate foundling, and was a part of the organization and group known as the True Mandalorians during the Mandalorian Civil War. Following this, the Jango Fett clones actually managed to successfully defeat Bo-Katan, Death Watch, and Pre Vizsla in combat during the Clone Wars, adding more hurt to the fact that they considered Jango to be a false Mandalorian, and these sons of Jango to be false Mandalorians as well. Not to mention that after this, it was the clones that paved way for the Empire to successfully take over Mandalore, defiling their sacred culture and weaponry. If not for the clone troopers, Bo-Katan would successfully be in control of Mandalore as well as the Darksabers still, and the Empire would not have been allowed to rise, ultimately making Bo-Katan removed from her role prematurely. prematurely, and all the Mandalorians that are left despising the clone troopers and what they did to their world of Mandalore. But what are your thoughts on this, and the layered and complex backstory between the Jango Fett clones and true Mandalorians, and therefore why there was such animosity and hatred towards Boba Fett specifically, and why they despised this false Mandalorian so intensely? I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments down below, and what are your thoughts on the layered heritage and history between the Fett clones and the Mandalorians? Also, do you think that the Mandalorians' hate for the Jango Fett clones is legitimate? According to my analytics, a lot of you guys that watch the channel haven't actually subscribed yet, so if you've been enjoying the content and would like to see more, if you're a Jedi, force push the subscribe button, or if you're a Darksider, force choke it. Be sure to check out the Star Wars merch page for new deals post the holiday season, as there's some pretty big ones on the horizon. As always, my friends, your continued support to the channel means the absolute world to me. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.